My name's Amelia Smith. I'm a journalist at the Middle East Monitor. Thank you for joining us for another Memo live in conversation as we mark 1 decade since Egypt's Arab Spring uprising in 2011. Here with us today, we have Abdurrahman Ezz, one of the founding members of Egypt's April 6 movement. Abdurrahman Ezz was arrested several times under the Hosni Mubarak regime. And when he was released, he went on to play a key role in organising and orchestrating Egypt's revolution that eventually led to the toppling of the longtime dictator himself. Abdurrahman, welcome to Memo Live in Conversation.
Hi, Amy, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you. So, Abdurrahman, you are the man behind one of the most iconic photos from the Egyptian revolution. It's an image of you standing in front of a line of police officers with helmets, with shields, holding up a sign. Can you tell us exactly what is happening in this photo?
Wow, this was about 10 years ago from now. I remember this moment. It was about 11 p.m. At the night after we already succeeded on storming and take to streets, which was a dream for us to take to streets while Mubarak regime, because it was very dangerous. It's forbidden, not allowed at all. So getting to Tahrir Square was like achieving a big success to us, to people, which is like now it was locked, completely locked to anybody who just thinking to go around this square. The square which is witnessed a lot of demonstrations and protests to freedom before in Egyptian history. So at this moment, the people at night started to, we decided to have a sit-in inside the Tahrir Square, downtown Cairo. It was exactly in the middle of Cairo, which is a lot of around like the Egyptian Museum, like Nile River, like even a lot of embassies like British Embassy, American Embassy, and also a lot of libraries, a lot of cultural society and political society, a lot of political parties around all this area, which is a very, very sensitive, vital, and vital area to publish our opinions and our political views. So at this moment, people gathering, chanting, calling for freedom, holding signs, drawing, even sometimes people singing, and sometimes there are some political statements. So at this point, there is some of the square. The square is very wide. So at this point, the people gathering in somewhere on Al Qasr or any street near to to the big round, the big park in the middle. But the other part of the square, which was like not a lot of people there. So, and also the police and the secret police at this time was surrounding us all. The square, Tahrir Square, was surrounding with police, and so I was afraid at this moment that if you look to the photo, you'll find the people or the police officers and soldiers surrounding us from the other street. This street actually, Omar Makram Street, leading to the British Embassy and American Embassy as well, and also other kind of streets near to the bridge of Qasr Nil. So this spaces was nearly empty from people, but the other side was full of people. So I was afraid that maybe they coming from this side. So I holded my my sign, and we write on this sign like go out, get out, actually get out Mubarak, get out from power, step down, whatever it's meaning in English, but it's called irhal in Arabic. ارحل يا Mubarak, get out Mubarak. And I start to hold it, walking towards this police. And I started at this moment, I started singing as well. I chanting and singing one of the important and very popular poem in our Arabic world.
So I think this was a chant from a famous Tunisian poet, which was said in other countries across the region. Yeah, what exactly were you saying? What was the line from the poem?
Yes, the boy called Abul Qasim al-Shabi. He is Tunisian, and he was so revolutionist, and this was so inspiring a poem for me because since I was like before even I was teenager, I was participated in some demonstrations, struggling to freedom, fighting for freedom in my country, to my nation, to my people. So this poem inspired me a lot when said, if I can't say the translation, I will say it in Arabic first and then in English. In Arabic is said, إذا الشعب يوما أراد الحياة فلا بد أن يستجيب القدر ولا بد لليل أن ينجلي ولا بد للقيد أن ينكسر. So it said, if the people will to live, providence is designed to favorably respond. A night is designated to fold, and the chains are certain to be broken. Maybe another translation to make it more clear. If one day a people desires to leave, then fate will answer their call, and their nights will then begin to fade, and their chains break and fall. For he who is not embarrassed or impressed by a passion for life will dissipate into thin air. At least that is what all creation has told me, and what is hidden spirits declare. This is another translation of what said in this poem. At this moment, I was also I'm not feeling too safe. I was a little bit scared because I was alone at this moment toward this face to face to the police. So I was trying also to comfort myself, to comfort my soul, and also try to affect them by these words, that the police and the soldiers, that they are standing there in nervous. And even I start to ask them to listen to these words and understand it, and even I ask them to memorize it. And in the video, there's a video as well. Maybe later on I could put it on comments in your page. I was asking them to memorize it. Memorize these words, guys. We are not enemies of you. We are just looking for our freedom, for our rights, for human rights. And then I start chanting as well, get out Mubarak. And I said also another words like Allahu Akbar, that Allah is greatest, whatever. Another thing is I don't remember all what I said at this moment.
So tomorrow is the anniversary of the Day of Anger, Friday, 28th of January, 2011. Many Egyptian revolutionaries described this as the most important day in the whole 18-day uprising. Do you agree? And what do you think is the significance of the Day of Anger for the protests?
Just to give a background of what happened at this day, to remember the Mubarak era, you can't say anything, you can say nothing about Mubarak regime criticizing. So I was at this time a member of 6th of April movement. It was a limited amount of figures of guys, dreamers of freedom, and other kind of political movements. A lot of at this moment has a frauded election. There is no election. We had 30 years of Mubarak dictatorship. We can't even elect even the council, even the council of like council on London Council or any other cities in UK. We can't even elect the councils. So we have no one represent us on power, on economic, on whatever in our country. We don't share any decision on our country. We have been depressed badly. A lot of journalists can't say anything. So at this moment, we have this a channel of internet. So we try to use it as political tool to expressing our initiative or our passion to freedom, our passion to justice. So at this moment, we try to gather after Khalid Saeed, this guy who's killed, and there is started a page of Kullina Khalid Saeed, we all Khalid Saeed, which was popular, and started to give some ideas about how for people, for normal people, for me, I was activist, political activist, I was journalist as well as a photographer, so I know how could we do it, how could we gather, how could we go to street, how to what kind of slogans, what kind of signals, what kind of political messages to send. But for people, it was for first time to people to come with us, to come to take the streets. It's a big revolution, actually, without even the revolution going on at this time. This kind of people gathering together, know each other, face each other. It was a revolution in Egyptian mind, because it's a long time since people gathering together to express their demands. So yes, 25th was inspired as well by Tunisian a success on get down or stepping down their president Ben Ali. So people started to believe in themselves at this moment, and then come to 25th. The second day, 26th, wasn't that strong like 25th. I've been arrested in 26th in front of journalism union. And then I released it the second day with some journalists. 27 started some popular areas, which very poor areas, started to protest in their areas. Some clashes happen as well on Suez city, which has the first murders at this time, the first victim killed by police. And then 28th, all people started to call it, before even it's come, the anger day, because the Friday in Egypt is the day people gathering in the mosques. So people gather in the mosques to pray the Jum'ah, the most important day in the week, every week. All people started to gathering in mosques, and the Kullina Khalid Saeed and 6th of April movement and the other and the Muslim Brotherhood and other kind of there's called also the Hurriya Adala youth, which is called the Freedom and Justice youth, was a political movement as well. All this kind of political movement decided together to get to the demonstration and protest to get out from mosques all around the Egypt. So in Cairo, they start to publish, okay, this is the mosques that we will get out from it. This is in Giza, this is in Luxor, this is in Aswan, in all the governors, in all cities. So when you find the people come out from the mosque with this kind of amounts, figures, a lot of people, like tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands people. The police at this moment try to surround people, but they couldn't. And then started the clashes, which is continues until the second day. And unfortunately, there is a lot of people, a lot of Egyptian civilians, peaceful people, dreamers of freedom, has been murdered by police. And I was lucky because just I get a metal pellets, the bird pellets. Just was my luck that it comes to my eye, and just actually it's still there.
Wow. So can you remember, after all of this, everything you've described from the 25th of January, can you remember where you were, what you were doing, and how you felt when you heard the news that Hosni Mubarak, after 18 days of protests, was standing down after 30 years in power?
Yes, at this day, actually my family tried to get me out from the protests. I remember my grandfather arguing me to not go to streets. They were afraid, they were scared about me, especially that they know that I have been arrested before many times while I protesting against Mubarak or against the police brutality, or or doing my job as a photographer. So they were afraid. And even I remember my grandfather, when I just tried to hide it and then I opened the door and run away, he shouting on me he's died now. May Allah, may God and Allah grant him paradise. May Allah bless him. Anyway, he tried to shouting on me, screaming while I'm in the stairs. So I said, just to pray to me, just keep us in your prayers. So yes, at this moment, I know that it's so dangerous to walk in the streets. So we know that's one of the mosques is a very popular mosque in Giza city. It's called Masjid, the Mosque of Istiqama, and Dr. Muhammad al-Baradei, one of the dominant figures at this time against Mubarak regime. He will pray there, and many of activists from Six of April movement, Muslim Brotherhood, another kind of political parties, some of journalists will pray there. So I decided to go to this mosque because it's kind of near to, not that near to Tahrir Square, but the routes to Tahrir Square is more easier than other kind of mosques like Al-Azhar, Al-Sharif or whatever, and other kind of other mosques. So I decided to go to this mosque, and they was so nervous. Even just the imam of the mosque finished the prayers, and then they started to target us with water floods, and then with tear gases, bombs, and then with metal bullets, and then with live bullets. So, but the amount of people started to grow up. They tried to break us, but every time they try to break us, break the protest, the people start to grow, which has become crazy. I never expect that at all. Like all this amount of people, and even the courage of people to go and standing in front of police, in front of bullets, without someone fall down and the people pull him, and the other people come and pull another one, fall down, and people grow up without no end, endless of protest, endless of anger. At this time, they started to kill people from police stations. So people start to also try to defend themselves, and then started to burning some of police stations as well, because this police stations was a symbol of torture, a symbol of brutality of people. There is no any confidence of police stations at all. Like you said, now we see now Black Lives Matters. At this moment, we need something. Someone said Egyptians lives matters, Arab lives matters. So this was the case. This was the conditions. We tried ourselves. We just was like anyone in the world. We tried to look for our dignity, for our freedom, for our independence, and for our human rights, basics. It's basics for life, to just to live. You know, people at this time just to live in one day under $2. Family of 5 people or 4 people live with $2 per day, and other people just has billions of billions. So this was a big gap between people in power and people on the ground. So yeah, I will continue just answering. I was this in the Masjid Istiqama, and we break the ways to Tahrir Square, but unfortunately, and Qasr Al Aini, there is a popular video, very famous video, that they started to even like cross with trucks, with police trucks on protesters. They started to kill anyone around us, but people never go back. People at this day never go back, whatever happened. At this moment, I started also while because at this moment actually I couldn't I couldn't separate my activism as political activist and the journalist. I was filming, I was taking photos, but at the same time, I was chanting, I was helping anyone needs any help, like with some Pepsi, or, try to just to overcome the tear gases affection. We try to help each other. We try to take some techniques to hiding and come back to protest. So I was trying to do two roles in the same time. So at this moment, I wasn't an activist. I was doing my job as a journalist, as a photographer. So I was filming some clashes between the police and the protesters in Al-Qasr al-Aini, just about 1 kilo away from Tahrir Square. So we arrived nearly to Tahrir Square, but there is just this bridge that separates us from Tahrir Square and us. At this bridge, a lot of people killed, a lot of people murdered. So I never expect that something will happen to me. I know it's maybe it will happen, but I'm just going to achieve our goal to get to Tahrir Square and call for our freedom of my nation, of my people. So, and I also try to get this films to show the other people, because not all people get to streets. I want to show the people what's happening exactly, like I see it. So I started to film with my camera, and I was in front of police when protesters from this side and this side tried to get in. And suddenly I felt like something so hot burning my face, burning my eyes. I didn't realize what's happened. Just everything became black. And I couldn't even peer to stand. I was running to nowhere, just doing like that, can't see, and then I fall down. Then some protesters took me to field hospital. Some doctors established it away from Tahrir Square, and then said no, he needs to go to emergency right now. So some people took me to 6 October hospital in Giza City, and then they can't do the operation to me. So the another ambulance took me to Al-Qasr al-Aini hospital, very famous hospital in Cairo. And when I went there, the pain wasn't that strong like before, and there is no space to me. I found a lot of bodies on the corridors on the hostel, a lot of died, dead people and injured people. Many of people has been shooted in their eyes, like targeted in their eyes, but there's no space. Even the doctors themselves started to donate their bloods and ask people to come to donate their bloods, because a lot of victims, a lot of injured. So at this moment, I started again to do my role as a journalist, and then start to walk. Even my eye was like that, bleeding, but I see it from the other side, from the other eye at this moment. I even sometime when I take pictures of people on the corridor of hospital or filming them, they scared. Someone with a big eye, a big bloody eye, closed completely, and the blood comes from everywhere, and he holding the camera and walking in the corridors of hospitals and take pictures. But this is, I told myself, the doctors told me there is no operation until the next day. So I said, I will get this picture out, because there is no journalists, there is no one can get to the hospital. So, and I still hold my camera. I will keep doing whatever I can to help these people and to help our country to get to get its freedom.
Yeah. So 10 years on from that moment, Egypt has an unprecedented number of political prisoners. The regime practices systematic torture against them, denies them medical care. The death penalty is soaring. What are your thoughts on the future of Egypt? Do you have hope 10 years on?
I have nothing but hope. Egyptian people, especially the people who believe on justice and the freedom, they have nothing but hope now. As you said, this is a situation now in Egypt. So one of the lessons that personally, and I can claim that many of my friends, brothers of my nation, of my people, believe that one of our problems, not just the regime. The problem is the regime is just a tool. Is the regime can't do nothing without a support come from outside. Exactly, or especially the Western support. Unfortunately, this is a real. We have a revolution. Even they supported the regime, the proto-regime of Mubarak for 30 years. You can imagine that. Imagine that David Cameron or Boris Johnson just continues in the power for 30 years without any elections. Can any British citizen or Western or American, whatever, imagine that?
Well, I think we've lost Abdurrahman Ezz, unfortunately. We're having a bit of a signal issue. So I would like to thank our wonderful audience for being with us, and I'm sure you enjoyed listening to Abdurrahman Ezz as much as I did. Please do tune in next week where we will have another memo live in conversation. Thank you very much for listening.